It's the start of 2021. We've just returned from 4 days in the mountains near Granada. We had a lovely time as a family enjoying some snow in the mountains. We were looking back on 2020 and talking about our hopes for the new year. It had been a difficult year, as it has been for everyone, and we were quite happy actually to see the back of 2020. We had a sense of hope and anticipation and expectation, desire for this new year. Last night we got home, and listening to the news, I heard that the UK has just re-entered a national lockdown. It's not what anyone imagined or hoped for. I imagine that, like us, you're quite happy to see the end of 2020. I imagine people have a sense of desire for the new year to bring change. And that's not happening. And there's a bleak feeling to that. What do you do when you face a difficult situation like this? Biblically, the thing to do is to remember the ways of God. Last year, I found myself in a situation where I needed to do that. It was March of 2020 and Spain entered lockdown, as did most other places in the world. I was at a place in my life, I was just about to turn 50 actually, and I was in a place of evaluation, looking back on my past and thinking, what did I want this next decade to look like? I had a real sense that there were going to be changes in ministry. I had expectations and thinking things through. I was planning to do some various training courses. But when we entered lockdown, all of that changed. All my plans changed overnight. Spain went into pretty severe lockdown. We couldn't even go out and exercise. And so I found myself at home. Even my 50th birthday party had to be cancelled, as did many other people's weddings, and all sorts of things like that were happening all around the world. And like me, probably, you were at home thinking, what do I do now? I needed some encouragement. I needed to do something that would remind me of the ways of God. I dug out a pile of old letters, 400 letters, that Miranda and I exchanged in the year that we were engaged and I was travelling in Africa. And I also found 20 or so old journals that I've written over the last 30 years of my life. And I spent time reading through this pile of old letters and journals and reflecting on my life journey and the ways that God has shown himself faithful to me over this time, how he's provided for me and for us as a family, the things that he's taught me, how he's led me and how he's changed me over the years. I actually found this process incredibly encouraging. I told a series of stories, 50 stories, to mark turning 50 during that lockdown period. And actually, as I finished the year and looked back on 2020, the process of reflection and telling those stories was by far my highlight of the year. I found it an incredibly encouraging process. 2021 is starting out again in a way that is strange, confusing, and discouraging. We have no idea how this year is going to go. I think of my older daughter. She's planning to be studying in the UK. She was hoping to be travelling back and forth between the UK and Spain to spend time studying and time with us as a family. But all of those plans are up in the air. She's here in Spain, the UK's gone back into lockdown, studies are either ground to a halt or they've all gone online, and she's in the early stages of adult life, uncertain of what to do. How do I as a dad help at this time? What do I say? What do I have to offer? I guess the truth is, the things that I have to offer are the stories from my own life, the times and the ways in which I've proved to myself that God is good, that he's faithful, and that he leads and guides us. And so I thought, as we go into 2021, that what I would do is to release one story each week and post them on YouTube and maybe share a reflective question that will help connect these old stories of mine with our lives today. I'm hoping that this process would be encouraging. When I made these stories back in March and April of 2020, I was doing it mostly for my own sake and for the sake of my daughters. I had little sense of what to do with them beyond that, but I feel that these stories can be an encouragement today. When I made these stories, I called them my Ebenezer stories, and in the first video that I release, I'll explain why I did that. I found this process of reflection and storytelling really encouraging, and I guess my hope would be that as you watch these stories over the coming weeks, that you would also find them encouraging. I have a sense that how we respond to this difficult season that we're in now will become our stories for the future. And so I trust that as you reflect on your own life, and perhaps some of these stories will cause you to reflect back on your life and the ways that you've seen God moving in your life. I trust that this process will be encouraging for you and will give you a real sense of hope and expectation, even in the midst of difficult days.